Welcome back. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Those of us that were in part one, as we studied earlier on Revelation chapter 21, the city bride of the Messiah. So we're going into part two of. We stopped in Revelation chapter 21 and we stopped around verse 9. Let's go back to that. Revelation chapter 21, starting at verse 9. And we were talking about this one of the seven angels which had the seven vials who came to John. Welcome back, Frankie, who came to John and was going and talk with him to show him something. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And Revelation, this is not the first time that those angels talked to John like that. In fact, we saw in Revelation chapter 17 in verse 1, the Bible says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, and I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So this one angel that had the seven vials of wrath, he went and he after they showed the seven vials falling upon the earth, he's explaining things to John. First thing he explained was the rise and development and judgment of the whore. Okay, he did that in chapter 17. And here he's explaining to John the city and its relation to the Lamb. And we talked about how there's been much discussion, unfortunately, oftentimes debate. And again, I wanted to admonish all of my listeners, anyone listening to me, do not argue and debate about religion. Do not argue and debate about religion, about doctrines, about anything like that. Go to your Father and let his Spirit convict you of the truth. Go to his word yourself. Don't argue and debate with people that may not see the way you see, or you don't see the way they see. It is not of man that harmony comes. Harmony comes from the Father's Spirit. Okay? That's why harmony doesn't come with us just deciding we should be in harmony. Harmony comes from the power of the Father's Spirit to bring us together. Never, please, never forget. All glory and honor and praise and blessing goes to the Father. And any triumphs that we have in this movement is due to the Father. We don't win people to this truth by ourselves. People are won to the truth that are convicted by the Father's Spirit. When we start to think that we can organize ourselves or that we can argue our way to winning people to the truth, now you're taking glory from the Father and you're trying to take it yourself. You're trying to be the God. And therefore, if that's the case, you are falling directly into the school of our enemy. Because our enemy's main doctrine, one of his two main doctrines is man can be God. We don't ever want to be confused with that doctrine. The other one is you can do what you want and you're never going to die. We don't want to be confused with those doctrines. So don't argue with anyone about what you believe. Because brothers and sisters, the first thing is that we're understanding, like I said, we are disciples. The whole thing about Christianity, that one of the many, many things that I have a problem with the religion of Christianity, aside from the fact that it's not mentioned in the Bible except in Rome, one of the problems I have is the word Christian. Because the word Christian implies you are a follower of a religion or of a Christ, of Christianos. But in the vernacular, in the modern era in which we live, they put it in a whole denominational religion and a whole institution that the Bible never speaks about. The Bible uses the term disciple more than it uses the term Christian by far, not even close. It only uses the term Christian in the entire Bible, which only in the New Testament 3 times. But you go ahead and look up the word disciple and find out how many times that's used. Okay, so we are disciples, which means we are students of a teacher. That's what a disciple is. A disciple is a student of a teacher. So our teacher is Messiah. We are his disciples. Therefore, we are in a school of learning about the Father, about his Spirit, about his word. That's what we are. We're his disciples. And when we understand that, that's the attitude we take. We don't take the attitude of, I'm going to argue with you because I know and you don't know. We're not going to do that. We're going to take the attitude of, I'm learning from Messiah about Father's word. I'm learning from Messiah about Father's will. I'm his student. I don't know. I'm learning. As long as we have the attitude of a student that's learning from a master teacher, brethren, we'll be all right. But when we start to get into arguments and debates about people, they want to listen. When somebody comes at you trying to debate and argue with you, whether they realize it, sometimes they might not realize it, they're being sent from the devil to try to confuse you. That's all. They're being sent from the devil to try to confuse you. And if you have questions that you want to ask those questions to whoever, whether me or other teachers, and then go ahead and take that answer that you get and bring it back to your father. Don't argue with the answer. Just, okay, is that what you got? Okay, that's what you get from this. Bring it back to your father. Pray over it. Read it in his word. Let him guide you. I'll give you an example for myself. It's like the name Yahushua. When I first started awakening, it was about 10 years ago. I first started awakening to this truth. Maybe a little more than 10 years ago. I mean, really consciously awakening. I had subconscious things in my mind, even when I was younger. I always thought of Ezekiel as a black man for some reason. I never thought of Ezekiel as anything but a black man. And I always, thought about Moses looking like Egyptians, those things, but it never stuck with me. And Deuteronomy was always my favorite book, but I never really caught it, of course, the way I caught it about 10, 11 years ago. So when I did, I was wondering, what should I call my father? What should I call Messiah? And I started looking at videos. I started looking at YouTube videos. I studied my Hebrew and Greek concordance, and I was trying to find out. And I called them. I started with Yahushua for Messiah. Okay. Yahuwah for the Father. That's how I started. Yahuwah and Yahushua. And what I did is I prayed about it. Because I didn't want to give the wrong name, even then I recognized that none of us really know how to say it properly. Nobody does. We're going to learn as disciples. Messiah is going to teach it, but I wanted to do better than Jesus and God. So for a minute, when I first came out, then it was Yahushua and Yahuwah. But then I wasn't satisfied. I kept looking. Something was bothering me, and I kept studying, looking. And what it was is the brothers that was calling him Yahushua and calling the Father Yahweh. I didn't agree with their doctrines for the most part. I thought they were crazy. I still think a lot of them are crazy. The people that stand in the corner and that. So that discouraged me from looking into it further. But I decided, because I was still being bothered by Yahuwah and Yahushua, let me look it up first. And as I came to my own conviction. And this is my conviction. It may not be yours. I don't down anybody that used the name Yahuwah or Yahushua. I'm not downing that. I definitely was not with the Yahweh. I definitely saw that early on. It was not Yahweh. Okay. And plus, Caucasians pushed that, which also gave me a red flag. So I wasn't with that. But when I studied it out and looked at the concordance for myself, looked at the Hebrew alphabet for myself, I was convicted on Yahweh and Yahushua. And that was my conviction. And I still maintain that. I get people all the time that say Yahweh or Yahuwah or Yahushua, okay, or Jeshua. I get all of that. And I don't argue with people. If that's your conviction, you speak, but you call them that. But my conviction, as I studied it and prayed about it, and I prayed hard, I prayed about it, and I studied it. And I came with Yahweh Shai and Yahweh. Then there were some brothers from one of the camps talking about a higher, and that nobody should use Yahweh Shai and Yahweh. You should use a higher only. So I studied that. But I came away with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And I began to understand, because you know what? I said to the Father, I don't understand. Can you show me? And he gave me some light on Ahaya. And he showed me. Ahaya is I exist. Yahweh is Yah exists. So he's talking to Moses in the first person when he says, I exist. Tell the children of Israel, I exist. Like, I haven't forgotten you. I'm the God of your fathers, and I exist. That's my name. I exist. But then he told Moses, he came back and said to Moses, your fathers know me by Al Shaddai, which is Yah, God Almighty. He said, by my name, Yahweh, big letters. You always be careful when the Bible comes with capitalized letters like that. It means something. It says, Yahweh, I was not known unto them. So understanding that Moses wrote Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, Moses is writing these words in Genesis, and he's using Yahweh in Genesis, but it's because he already knew the name when he wrote the book. But at the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they themselves did not know that name. And so I saw that and I said, okay, his name Yahweh means Yah exists. He's talking about himself in the third person. Yah exists. And so when I say it, I am saying Yah, that man, the God Yah, he exists, Yahweh. That was my conviction. See, I'm just telling you how I got to my conviction. I'm not telling you you need to say it the way I say it. I'm telling you, you need to go and ask the Father. You need to go and search these things out for yourself. You need to let his spirit dictate to you your conviction and be honest. That's the whole problem. People lose their honesty trying to be gods, trying to be leaders, trying to be the top. And they lose their humility and their honesty, and it messes up their whole ministry. It happens to a lot of people. Like I said, I learned that watching one of the brothers that baptized me. And I saw him fall, and he fell just like that. He was, the Most High was blessing him, and he got caught up in material things. And then the worst thing that happened to him is he went on television. That was the worst thing that happened to him. He got on television, and everything just blew up to another level. People were sending him money. Thousands of people sending him money every month. And he lost it all. I mean, when I say he lost it, he lost the Father's spirit. That's everything. He started messing around with congregants, hitting on women that was in his office, acting like Elijah Muhammad. Then telling everybody he was the one, and so he lost the Father's spirit completely. Okay, he still preaches, but the power is gone. He don't realize it though, because he wants to still be the leader. So we are all disciples. We're all disciples. And when that happened to him, and I knew him personally, and I saw the rise of his ministry, and when it happened to him, I realized it could happen to me. It can happen to anybody. And I understood, I'm a disciple. I'm just trying to learn. All of us are. So go to your Father. Go to your Father and ask him. Be his disciple. Be the disciple of his son, Messiah, and ask him to lead you in truth. Don't let your pride, put away everything that you thought you knew before. Everything that your daddy and father taught you, mother and your church taught you, whatever church you was in, put all that and put it to the test of the Father and his word alone. And be ready for the answer, because it's going to go against everything you've been taught. Okay? It's going to go against everything that you've been taught. And he's going to teach you truths that you never understood before, you never knew. Deep stuff. He taught Paul so many deep revelations. Paul had to have a thorn in his flesh. He was shown so much from the Father. He's going to show us stuff too. We're getting close to the end right here. We are at the end. And so he's going to show us many things, but we have to be his disciples. We have to come to him with that attitude. And as disciples, he can teach us, because then we don't know. We're learning. We're students in his school. Okay? With the Father, his word is a school and life is a school. Life is school with the Father. Because every day you talk to him, he's showing you something about life in your own life and the things that you observe. He will show you more than anything you will ever learn from any school on this planet without even question, without even, woo. Okay, let him show you. That's why he's called the Ancient of Days. Father is called the Ancient of Days. And of course, the Most High. Nobody could teach us like him. And the Father has appointed Messiah as our teacher to represent him to us. So we're listening to Messiah when we're getting taught. Okay? Don't forget that, y'all. Don't argue with anybody about religion, though. Don't argue about doctrine. Don't argue about anything. If somebody comes to you trying to argue, I'm telling you right now, by the Spirit of the Father, they're not from the Yahweh. They're not from him. They're trying to confuse you. Whether they realize it or not. Sometimes they're very conscious that they're going to try to confuse you. Sometimes they're not. They're just being used and don't realize it. Don't let anybody bring confusion to you. Go to your Father. Go to the Spirit of your Father. Pray. Read his word for yourself and get convicted by him. He will guide you. He will never lead you wrong, ever. Remember what he said now. Remember his words that Messiah gave to the woman at the well. Love these words, powerful words. Gospel of John, chapter 4, powerful words. Gospel of John, chapter 4. I'm going to start when Messiah start calling her out and she realized that she was dealing with somebody that wasn't no normal man. I'm going to start at verse 10. Yahushua answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of Yah, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water, springing up into everlasting life. The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Yahushua saith unto her, Go call thy husband and come hither. He playing with her now. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yahushua said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband, for thou hast had 5 husbands. That kills me, because he's telling her everything about herself. And she bugging. She got to be bugging. He know everything about her, right? Thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast had is not thy husband. In that thou saidst thou truly. She's probably looking around saying, who is this brother, man? And how you treating my business like that? It kills me, man. I be seeing these things and it makes me laugh. Okay, let me continue. The woman said unto him, Sir, she's trying to change the subject. You know how when somebody get embarrassed, right? In this day and age, either I'm crying because I'm happy, or I'm laughing because I'm happy. But the thing is, when people get embarrassed, right? In this day and age, you know we all do this, right? We start laughing, trying to laugh it off, right? Or we try to change the subject. Or what's that you wearing? Or where you come from? Try to change the subject. Because we don't want to talk about we don't want to talk about what you bringing up. So he said, yo, you right. You said you ain't got no husband. You had 5 husbands. And the dude you with now, that ain't your husband. So then she said, oh, you must be a prophet. Verse 20. Notice, she said, then she's going to change the subject further. She said, our fathers worshiped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Why she say that? Because Jerusalem is where all the feasts are supposed to be. I told y'all that. You can't just keep a feast any place you want to. It's appointed to keep it in Jerusalem, right? And so when she said her fathers worshiped in that mountain, she was talking about Ephraim. Samaria was Ephraim. She was talking about Ephraim. And Samaria and Ephraim is where the original place of the Ark of the Covenant rested. Because Joshua, or Yahushua, was of Ephraim. He was the tribe of Ephraim, the son of Nun. And so when they came in the promised land, Joshua was the leader. So the Ark of the Covenant rested where Joshua was, in Ephraim. Okay. And then what ended up happening later, when the kingdom got divided, the Ephraimites led the northern kingdom in rebellion and worshiping golden calves in Ephraim. So there was a big division. The people of the northern tribes, which became Samaria, because they were mixed with Assyrians, they were saying we should worship here in Ephraim. That's the original place where the Ark of the Covenant used to be. And then the other ones say, no, the Most High through David brought the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, and he tells everybody come to Jerusalem. And so they were arguing about that. But the Jews were right. The Israelites were right, of course. Okay. Notice what it said. Yahushua saith unto her, woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship, ye know not what. He's telling her the truth. She had no idea. She was so ignorant about the truth. And it was not just her fault. The religious leaders of that day were doing what? Bringing lies and confusion. Does that sound familiar? Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. You read that news? That what he said? You don't know what you worship. Salvation is of the Israelite people. Messiah come from Israel, from the tribe of Judah. Salvation is not of the Catholic Church. Salvation is not of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Salvation is not of the Baptist Church. Salvation is not of Jehovah's Witnesses. Salvation is not of the Latter-day Saints. Salvation of the Jews, of the Israelite people, from where the Lion of the tribe of Judah comes. He says, you don't know what you worship. Salvation is of the Jew. Verse 23. In spite of that, he said, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father. Wait, let me read that again. This Messiah talking, right? That was what he said. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. It almost gives you the feeling the Father looking for y'all, right? He looking for his people. He caught what? That's one of the functions of the 144,000 these last days. We are ambassadors to cause people to come to Messiah so he can introduce you to your Father. The Father seeking you to worship him. See that? He is looking for you to worship him. He's not looking for you to hang out with you. He's not looking for you to get you rich. He's not trying to do that. That's the devil talking to you. He's looking for you to worship him, because he is and always will be the only true God. And this is life eternal, that they might know thee, the only true God, and Messiah Yahushua, whom ye have sent. That's right. Ain't but one Messiah. Ain't no Arab prophet. Only but one Messiah. the Lion of the tribe of Judah is Messiah. And he's going to be king on this earth very shortly, y'all. And he's telling us, Father is seeking us to worship him. Praise Most High Yahweh. So now the angel came, back to Revelation 21, verse 9. And there came unto me one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues. And he talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. So what are you going to show him? Let's keep reading. Verse 10. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Yah, having the glory of Yah, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. Brethren, so let's put this together. The 144,000, Revelation chapter 19, Revelation chapter 19, Revelation 19, verse 7 and 8. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. Can Jerusalem make itself ready? No. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. Was Jerusalem arrayed in fine linen, clean and white? No. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. So what is it then? Is it the city or is it these people in fine linen? It's both. It's the people inside the city. You got me? It's the people inside the city. Okay? That's what it is. So you have the people that dwell in that holy city. You have that holy city, which is nothing without the people. The Father didn't just make this holy city for it to be empty. Right? What would that mean? Have an empty city? No. He made the city to be inhabited. To be inhabited by his people. And they're led by the 144,000. And Messiah. But this city, though, has a king. You say Messiah's the king. Messiah's the king of the whole earth. He's the Lord of lords and King of kings. But no. This city has a king. David. Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. We getting ready to study Jeremiah next, y'all. Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah 30, verse 8 and 9. Actually, 8, 9, and 10. Jeremiah 30, 8, 9, and 10. Notice what it said. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they shall serve Yahweh, their most high, and David, their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. The seed is in captivity. The seed of Jacob is in captivity, and he says, I will save them from afar and from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. So David's going to be raised up. The Father said, I'm going to save the seed of Jacob from the land of their captivity, which tells you that Jacob's seed has been what? Captives. You want to know who the true Israelites are? Look at people that have been brought to lands that's not their original lands by captivity. Look at people that have been brought into captivity. Those are Jacob's children. And they're going to be delivered. And David's going to be their king. Wait, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. Right? Isn't that right? Okay, one more. Ezekiel chapter 37. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. Ezekiel chapter 37. Going to start at verse 21. And say unto them, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. They shall be no more 2 nations, neither shall they be divided into 2 kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Most High. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. And they shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes to do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them and set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Most High. They shall be my people, and the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. The bride, the Lamb's wife, is the city with the people. But in this particular case, in Revelation chapter 21, the focus is on the city. So let's look at the city. The Most High is showing us the city much more closely here. So let's look at the city. Revelation chapter 21, verse 10. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Yahweh, having the glory of Yahweh. And her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the 12 gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So look, if there was a religion that the Most High had established called Christianity, would he have the names of the 12 tribes of Israel? Would he be focusing on Israel? If there was a European Caucasian Jesus, wouldn't he be focusing on where he came from? May he be calling it England or Germany or Alemania or something? No. He said these are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Jacob's children, which we just read, were brought into captivity in the lands of their enemies. Okay? This is a Hebrew city for a Hebrew nation, for a Hebrew people. So now, with all that being said, the question, of course, I always answer because I know you're asking it. What about the Gentiles? Does he hate white people? No. First, let me explain. There's no such thing as white people. White came from your scientists that created this other fictitious thing called race. Race is a fictitious thing. It doesn't exist in the Bible. No, race doesn't exist in the Bible. What does exist in the Bible is what tribes you come from. What is your origin? That does exist. So you may come from one of 3 sons. Either you come from Ham, Japhet, or you come from Shem. You come from one of them. All of us do. Most of the people that call themselves white come from Japhet. So there's no such thing as white people. That being said, the Father loves all 3 of the boys. He loves Ham, he loves Shem, and he loves Japhet. And he's going to have a remnant of people that come from all 3 of them. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But he has a chosen seed that he has chosen above all. That seed started with his friend that he called his friend, Abraham. And then he told his friend Abraham that, Abraham, you're going to have a son. That's my promise to you, Yishak, which means to laugh, because you laughed when I told you. And Yishak had two sons, twin boys. One was Esau, the other Jacob. Jacob was the promised one. And it was signified by the fact that he wrestled with Messiah, and Messiah said to Jacob, what is your name? He said, Jacob or Jacob. Your name is no longer Jacob. Your name is now Yashar, or as we call it, Israel. Your name is Israel, and I'm going to bless your children. Okay, some couple of centuries later, those children were based in Egypt, Mizraim's land, the land of Ham. And he called his Levite servant, Moses, go get my people. And Moses got the people, called Moses to lead the people out of Egypt. The children of Israel. Those are his chosen ones. Now, the children of Israel were spread through the whole earth into captivity. Let's use America as an example, since I'm here, but you can use any nation, those of you who are in the captivity. We were brought here in chains. We did not come here from Ireland or Poland or Italy seeking a better life on a ship and land in Ellis Island. That wasn't us. No, we can't even relate to that, in spite of what certain coons in the Trump administration say, that we came here looking for a better life in the bottom of slave ships. See how the brainwashing is? That is Judas sellouts are. Anyway, we did not come like that. We did not arrive on Ellis Island from France. We came here in the bottom of slave ships with chains on our necks. There is no people in America that can make that claim but us. There is no people in America, whether you be Chinese, whether you be Vietnamese, whether you be Australian, whether you be from Europe, whether you be from Africa, one of the nations of Africa as a Hamite. You didn't come here like that. Only we came here like that. They don't even know what to call us. They started off calling us niggers, which I kind of understand. I don't mind the word nigger. You know why? It's the word Niger. It's an ignorant way of saying Niger. Because you know, one of the disciples, one of the ones that laid hands on Paul and caused him to be called by the Spirit was Niger. It means black. From which you get a whole country named Niger, and then Nigeria, which is extension of that country. So I don't have a problem with that. It don't bother me no more because I know who I am. But then they couldn't, so they said, well, the scientists came up with European, Caucasoid, Asiatic, Negro, and I forgot the other one they used. And they said, you know, the Caucasoid is superior. The Negro is inferior. So then they were calling us Negroes because we was inferior. And they can mark us by our shape of our head and mostly the color of our skin. That's where you get race from. Okay? But the Father in heaven never made that. And those same Negroes, those are the children of Israel. Those are his children. So they've been scattered into captivity in America, and we are now awakening. And any of you that can bear witness to the message that he's caused me to come off with this ministry, you can bear witness. This message is for everybody. It reaches Caucasians and Asians and Negroes. It reaches everybody. But it came off the tongue of a Hebrew who knows who he is. I'm not the only one. But that's the way it's going to come to all the captivity. And that's why you're going to get people from all the lands that's going to come with the chosen Hebrews into this beautiful city. And we're all going to rejoice together. Praise the Most High, Yah. All of us. So you had the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel on the gates because it's a Hebrew city because of Yah's promise to his servant Jacob also his servant Isaac, also his servant Abraham. That's why. Somebody might ask, what about Noah? Noah was a servant. So was Adam after he repented. So was Seth and Enoch and Methuselah and Lamech and Yared and more. That was post-flood. After the flood, he chose Abraham, who came from a man named Eber. Eber is where you get the word Hebrew from. You get it from Eber. In fact, Eber was so important that when he introduced Shem in the Bible, he said, Shem, the father of all the children of Eber. And Eber had twins, and he called one of them Peleg because the earth was divided. And from Peleg, and he had Joktan and Peleg, and from Peleg came the lineage that led to Abraham, whose name was changed to Abraham, the chosen seed. Abraham, the Hebrew. Joseph, the Hebrew in Egypt. And us, the Hebrews in America, in the UK, in France, in in Liberia, in Ghana, the Hebrews, in all of these places, in India, in Pakistan, in Iran, the Hebrews that are now being kicked out of the state of Israel. The Hebrews getting kicked out. That's a blessing, you know. They don't realize it's a blessing they're getting kicked out. You know the Messiah getting ready to come do work there, right? So y'all ain't supposed to be there now anyway. So they're kicking you out. The Most High is having mercy on those Hebrews that are getting kicked out of Israel right now. They're getting kicked out. They were already mistreated, and now they're getting kicked out. And they think, you know, they're fighting the government, trying to stop themselves from getting kicked out. It's the Most High trying to have mercy on them. That's why they're getting kicked out. Most High having mercy on them. That's why they're getting kicked out. Okay, they don't realize it yet, but when they're in the real kingdom, they're going to be very happy they got kicked out. Praise the Most High. Revelation chapter 21, verse 13. On the east, 3 gates, and on the north, 3 gates, on the south, 3 gates, and on the west, 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. 12 apostles of the 12 tribes. Remember what Messiah told him? Peter said, this is after the rich young ruler came, and Messiah said, hardly shall a rich man enter the kingdom. And then Peter said, we have forsaken all and followed you. What do we get? He said, what's in it for us, Messiah? Messiah said, you who have followed me in the regeneration of the Son of Man shall sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. That's why their names in the foundation, y'all. Each of the tribes is going to have a leader, you know, a prince. That's what happened in the Bible. It had 12 princes. Remember, the 12 princes went into the promised land to spy it out, of which Joshua was one, right? So the 12 princes, the leaders of the 12 tribes, those are the 12 apostles of the Lamb. See, you're going to judge the tribes of Israel. Oh, man. Brethren, this is going to be, man, please. Please, 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 please. If I'm going to read this book, I'm going to believe it. Otherwise, I ain't going to bother. I don't like reading fiction. I don't. Even now, if I'm reading, like the other day, a friend of mine opened in a bookstore, and they had a party for her. I missed it. And I said, you know, I want books. I'm not much reader of books. I mean, I read my Bible. Other than that, I'm not much of a reader of books. But I said, if I do read a book, it's got to be a true story, something about Black people, about being delivered. And I gave her some names. I told her, don't send me nothing on Malcolm X, because I already read all about Malcolm X. I said, give me something else. And she sent me something. What did she send? She sent some things that was interesting. I think she sent some W.E.B. Du Bois and some things on Marcus Garvey, something like that. Okay. I said, okay, cool. So that's cool. But I'm not much of a reader of other books. I'm just not. But the Bible, I read that a lot. Right? And the leaders of Israel, the 12 tribes, the 12 apostles, on 12 gates, which are the 12 tribes, the 12 sons of Jacob. This is a Hebrew city. But I want to make sure I understand that, make y'all understand that it is a Hebrew city, primarily for the Hebrews. But Gentiles, y'all are invited. You want to come? You're invited. You want to hang out with us? You want to land in the tribe of Israel? Come, you can hang out with us. You be among us. Circumcised among us. Come on. Let's go. Let's both worship the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the black man, that's the Hebrew Messiah. Let's go. Praise the Most High. Verse 15. And he talked with me. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city and the gates thereof and the world thereof. Now remember again, whenever you see measurement in the Bible, it's measuring it against perfection of righteousness. Those that fail the measurement are in apostasy. In Amos, he had them use a plumb line to measure Israel, and they did not measure up. And he said, I'm not going to pass by you anymore. I'll pass through you. That was the warning, right? And then in Revelation 11, we saw him measuring the temple and city, them that worship there, but he did not measure the outer court. He said, that's given to the Gentiles. So here, he's measuring the city to basically confirm that is of perfect righteousness, perfect symmetry. The symmetry represents perfection of righteousness and truth, right? So he shows the perfect symmetry. Watch. Verse 16. And the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with a reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. See that perfect balance and symmetry. Remember, we talked about that, how in the earth made new, when we're in the kingdom, we'll be in complete harmony with everything on the planet. We'll be in complete harmony with nature. Nature will be in complete harmony with us. We will be in complete harmony with each other. And most of all of us, every being on the planet, every living object will be in complete harmony with Yah and Messiah. See, right now, everything is out of harmony and balance. The whole earth is out of harmony and balance right now. That's why you see it acting up. That's why you see things gap. That's why you have earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, these kind of conflagrations. You know, they say global warming and all that, but what it really comes down to is the earth is out of balance. It's in pain. The Bible says it. The whole nation, the whole nature is in pain because of it's out of balance with its Father. It's out of balance from its origin. It's out of balance from its origin of creation. It's completely not in equilibrium. Nobody is. All of the world, the people are out of balance. That's why you get people swinging wildly one way or the other. You know, I was thinking about that in terms of diet. I've done all kinds of diets. I ain't gonna front. I've done the fat-based diet, the keto. I've done raw vegan. I've done vegan diet and raw vegan. Yes, raw vegan. Well, all I ate was raw food for a couple of years. I did that too. I did the protein diet. I did all of them. And when I did them, I studied the people. I became a disciple of each one of those people, right, that was following these diets. And I always started off good and ended up bad. But then as I came back to the word, the Father was telling me, see, you've been following all these people, all these men, their philosophy trying to be gods. Why don't you follow me? All right, Father. And he showed me. It's about balance. Always about balance. Proteins, he showed me, build you up. Carbs give you energy. Fats cause you to feel satiated and satisfied. You need all three. That's balance. In its original form, the foods that he gave man was made of fruits. That was the food that he originally gave man. But it wasn't like the fruits we have now. The fruits he gave Adam then had all of the ingredients that Adam needed to be in balance. But because of the sin problem on planet Earth, because of the greed problem of corporations, the fruits have now been altered. And they're not completely in balance. Nothing is. So Father, understanding that, being the Alpha and Omega, he gave his chosen people first fruit, then he gave them breads, and then later on he gave them flesh foods to eat. and he gave them what to eat. He showed them how to prepare it. He showed them to avoid the blood. Balance. You need balance. And that's where Father brings us. And I learned that from him. Okay. So today, you know, the foods have been denatured to such a degree that no one food can satisfy you, can do everything you needed to do, because they've all been messed with. Everything, fruits, vegetables, beans, animals, everything has been messed with. So you need a balance of the foods Father say you should eat or you could eat. And that balance will bless you. We get messed up when we get stressed or something happens and we get what? Out of balance. That's what happens to us, right? And then you get people that go off on 10. Some people are control freaks. Some people are emotional. Some people schizophrenic. Some people are depressed. That's what they call it. That's imbalance. And it comes from the things that happen on the earth. And we are away from our Creator. As we get closer to the Creator, he brings us back into harmony. First harmony is back with him. When we get back in harmony with him, and that's what Messiah does. He brings us back into harmony with our Father. And then from there, Father, through Messiah, gets everything else right. And at the end, we're going to be on this earth made new, where everything will be in harmony and balance. You understand? Yeah. Everything, stress, it's an unbalance in the soul. So, you know, people cause you to, that's like with the diet. That had people say, oh, you can't eat anything but fruit. I had people say, you can't eat anything but starch. Don't eat any oil, just eat starch. I had somebody say, you can't eat anything but fat. Don't eat any sugar, just eat fat. I mean, it's imbalance. All of it is imbalance. It took me a long time to learn that, y'all. So it took me a long time to learn that. But Father Yah brings us back into balance by just connecting with him and his spirit of righteousness, and then allowing him to teach us in his word, and he'll bring us back into balance. But we're still off from what we're going to be when we get into this city right here. When we get here, we're going to be back in perfect balance. That's why he said he's going to give us new bodies. At the blink of an eye, we'll have a new body that's in perfect balance again. No more sickness, no more death, no more gray hair, no more diseases. Perfect balance. And he'll bring us back to that by his perfect righteousness through Messiah and his word. Okay, let's continue. Verse 16. And the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits. 144 cubits. According to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the city was of jasper. And the city was of pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper. The second, sapphire. The third, chalcedony. The fourth, an emerald. The fifth, sardonyx. The sixth, sardius. The seventh, chrysolite. The eighth, beryl. The ninth, topaz. The 10th, chrysoprasus. The 11th, jacinth. The 12th, amethyst. And the 12 pearls were 12, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of 1 pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. Let me also tell y'all, when you go back and you read, for example, Exodus, and you go back and you read Exodus where Moses was being told, and he told the children of Israel to create an ephod with 12 stones in it. And the 12 stones represented, each stone represented a tribe of Israel. It's the same pearls that you see in the city. No coincidence. So each stone had a pearl. Was a pearl. See in verse Exodus chapter 28, beginning at verse 17. And thou shalt set in it the setting of stones, even 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This shall be the first row. Okay. Carbuncle is emerald, by the way. The second row shall be emerald, sapphire, and diamond. The third row, ligure, agate, and amethyst. The fourth row, beryl, onyx, and jasper. See, these are these different names for the same stones, though. It's the same stones that you see on the gates in representing the 12 tribes. That's their stone. So all of us are going to be representing a tribe. You're going to be in a tribe. Now, the Gentiles are not representing a tribe, but they're going to join with a tribe. The tribe of their choice. So you Gentiles that come into the kingdom with us, you're going to join with us. You're going to get land where you choose to be. Ezekiel says that. And so you want to join with the tribe of Judah or Ephraim or whoever, you're going to be in that crew. Okay. You get to join where you are. But those of us by the bloodline are going to join our tribes by the bloodline. Okay, we don't know the bloodline yet because we've been scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. He's going to bring us back and educate us as to where we belong. Okay, and we're going to be with the tribe and the bloodline that we belong to. All right, because by our blood. And the Bible indicates that some of the Israelites are going to recognize that we are their descendants. And they're going to be happy when they see that their descendants were there at the end. And the Most High brought us and caused us to survive and thrive at the end. And so there's going to be Israelite peoples that we're going to meet. That's our family from centuries ago, from thousands of years ago, that are our bloodline. And they're going to and it's going to be your cousins. It's going to be your aunts from a long time. And you're going to meet them. And you're going to be in the tribe. Brethren, the joy of all of these joys we're going to be experiencing in the kingdom. The thing is, it's going to be the dominant one, Joe. It's always the dominant one. Just like, for example, if you notice, and I'm going to say something controversial. I'm not a doctor, so let me say this right now. Whenever a black man mixes with any race, that race becomes more beautiful. And that black man's seed is the dominant chromosome in that baby. That's by design. Okay, it's the dominant chromosome. Always. Even scientists will tell you that. But that's true. It's the dominant one. So a black man could have his seed, because in Abraham, he said, in your seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Whichever seed he mixes with is Abraham's seed. Abraham had a child with a Hamitic woman. Right? Hagar. And he said, I'm going to bless him because he's your seed. Even though it was with an Egyptian woman. I'm going to bless him because he's your seed. That's with anybody. Anybody that's a children of Judah, children of Abraham, children of Isaac, Jacob, the 12 tribes. You mix with anybody else because you in captivity, that seed got blessed by you. See, they try to make it the opposite. You know, black man seed no good, or you're going to be a single parent, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about on the spiritual level, on the Bible level. A black man that's of the descendants of the children of Israel that came here in slavery, when he mixes with any seed, that seed is blessed because of him. And those children are part of the Israelite people. They don't call, see, the earth try to call them mixed race. Again, race is a man-made thing. There's no mixed race. You're not half something and half something else. No. The Most High looks at Abraham's seed as the dominant thing. Abraham's seed is the dominant. Okay? His seed is the dominant. So whichever seed, Joe, to answer your question, was the original, where you came from, that's the seed. Whether it's Judah, Gad, Benjamin, Simon, Levi, whichever one. The Father knows. We don't know. But we're going to find out for sure. See, we're going to find out for sure. But that's how it's determined. It's the dominant seed. The dominant one. Okay. And you can see the example of it all the time. You see black men having children with Caucasian women, and some people don't like that. You know, if you don't know who you are, I kind of understand it. If you don't know who you are, you can't help who you fall in love with. But I tell you what, whether that man knows who he is or not, them children are Abraham's seed, because that's his seed. Okay, that's his seed. Them Abraham's children. That's the blessing of Abraham. Okay. Now, oftentimes the children of mixed races like that, when they mix with a black man, they get also persecuted. They go through a lot of crap, man, because they don't know who they are. White people want them to take a side. Black people want them to take a side. And they say, well, I'm both. I love both my parents. It's all mixed up. But biblically speaking, that's Abraham's seed. Because in Abraham's seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Who's the original? Which one of the tribes? We're going to find out. Yeah, I don't know. I know we've been scattered. I know the Most High knows who we are. Scattered. But we know we Abraham's seed. If you didn't know by the color of your skin, look at how you treated. Then you'll know. Walk in the store and let somebody follow you around. Get caught driving while black. You'll see then. You'll see then. I told a man once, didn't think it was that important. I said, and he liked to carry guns, and he was a brother. I said, okay, when they catch you with them guns and you spread eagle on some street somewhere, you're gonna realize you're black then. There you go. Let's continue. Revelation chapter 21. Verse 22, and I saw no temple therein, for Yahweh Al Shaddai and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it. For the glory of Yah did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. Oh, yes. There'll be no night there. Not because night will not exist. Seasons and night will still exist. But where the city is going to be so bright that it will never be dark. Where the city is going to be so bright that it will never be dark. Even though sun and moon and star, everything will go rise and set. There'll be suns, there'll be new moons, there'll be all that coming. In other places of the earth, it might get dusk. But where the city is, it will never be dark. Ever. And the glory and honor of the nations will come into it. Praise Yah. Praise the Most High. I know I said a lot of things that get people upset, but I got to speak the truth as I'm convicted. And I have never ashamed about that. If I make a mistake, I am a disciple of Messiah. I have no problem admitting in I'm wrong or something. I know people think, because people think in terms of race because you've been taught that by the society in which you live. But when you're following the Bible, you understand that society is ignorant and deceived, and there's no such thing as race. You will understand that the Caucasian people come from Japhet. They're not white. They're Caucasian. They're from the mountains of Ashkenaz. They're from what they call the Germanic tribes. That's where they come from. And it's prophesied that they should dominate the earth, but they're not the chosen people. The chosen people come from the place we call Africa, but it's not the original name of that place. You come from Shem through a man whose name was Hebrew, through another man named Abraham and his son Isaac and his son Jacob. And your skin color is brown. That's the original color of man, more color of the earth. More color of the earth that can see the blood in it. But that's not the point. It's the God you serve that's the point. Okay? When he says don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers, don't be with somebody that doesn't serve Yah, that doesn't understand who he is, that doesn't know him. If they don't and they love you, then you can teach them about Yah. But don't be with somebody that's worshiping another God, because they will lead you after their gods. No matter what color they are. Well, yes, it's true, brother. Race was an invented thing. And the people that invented race are the only true racists, because they invented it for them to be superior. There was no need to invent race except to exercise superiority over other people who you deem as inferior races. But the Father does not look at it like that. He looks at it by those who are the seed of Abraham, those who are worshipers of him in spirit and in truth. And again, this is just part of us unlearning the deceptions of the enemy, who has taught us all these things and bases all society on all these things. But the Father doesn't do it that way. Okay? And we are seeking him. Well, may the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shabbat Shalom. Continue to pray for us. We're going down to North Carolina this week. Who knows what's awaiting us there, but the Most High is leading us. And may he guide us to the place he would have us to be. Pray for that for us. We'll be continuing to pray for you all, that you will walk in his spirit as well. Praise the Most High Yah.